Have you ever wondered what the deadliest threat humanity has ever faced is? What if I told you that this threat is so small you can't even see it with the naked eye, yet it can devastate entire continents in a matter of months? In today's video, we're going to explore the most lethal virus on Earth. If you think you've heard about them all, get ready, because what you're about to discover here might change everything you think about the invisible danger lurking out there. This video is an invitation for you to dive into the world of viruses, understand how they operate, what makes them so dangerous, and most importantly, how they've changed the course of history. By watching until the end, you'll not only learn which virus is the deadliest, but you'll also understand what makes it such a significant threat to humanity. Are you ready to uncover the truth? And what if I told you that this virus has been closer to you than you might imagine? Let's unravel this mystery together and understand why it's so crucial to stay informed about it. The deadliest virus known to humanity is the rabies virus. Although it's less talked about than other more popular viruses, like HIV or SARS-CoV-2, the rabies virus has an almost 100% mortality rate if symptoms appear without intervention. This characteristic places it at the top of the list of the most lethal pathogens. The rabies virus belongs to the Lyssavirus genus and is primarily transmitted through the bite of an infected animal, usually mammals like dogs, bats, raccoons, and foxes. Once inside the human body, the virus travels through the peripheral nervous system until it reaches the brain, where it causes acute encephalitis. The infection leads to symptoms like fever, headache, mental confusion, and later on, extreme agitation, hydrophobia, fear of water, hallucinations, and paralysis, ultimately resulting in death. The virus spreads through the saliva of infected animals, with bites being the most common form of transmission. However, rabies can also be transmitted through scratches or open wounds that come into contact with infected saliva. Rabies can affect any mammal, making it a dangerous zoonotic disease. Although rabies is preventable by vaccine, once symptoms appear, the disease is almost always fatal. What makes the rabies virus so terrifying is its extremely high mortality rate. If an infected person doesn't receive the rabies vaccine immediately after exposure to the virus, and symptoms begin to manifest, death is nearly certain. There are very rare cases of survivors who received experimental treatment, but rabies remains one of the few diseases with a fatality rate close to 100% once symptoms start. Rabies is considered the most dangerous virus for several reasons. First, its mortality rate is unmatched. Second, the fact that symptoms can take weeks or even months to appear creates a false sense of security that can delay treatment. Furthermore, since rabies is endemic in many parts of the world, especially in regions with large populations of unvaccinated animals, it remains a significant threat to global public health. For these reasons, the rabies virus is considered the deadliest of all. Its relentless lethality and the speed at which it destroys the nervous system once activated make it a true virological nightmare, underscoring the great importance of prevention and rapid treatment after exposure. While rabies doesn't cause large-scale global pandemics like SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, it remains a continuous threat due to its high mortality rate and the fact that it's a zoonotic disease, meaning it can be transmitted from animals to humans. Unlike other viral pandemics, such as the 1918 Spanish flu, which killed millions in a short period, rabies consistently kills every year without significant fluctuations in the number of cases. SARS-CoV-2, for example, has a much lower mortality rate, ranging from 1% to 3%, depending on the region and the virus variant. However, rabies, with a nearly 100% mortality rate, is far more lethal to those who are exposed and do not receive immediate treatment. Rabies also differs by being harder to control in regions with large populations of unvaccinated animals. In summary, the rabies virus continues to be one of the greatest threats to global health due to its extreme lethality, its prevalence in poor regions, and the persistent lack of effective control over animal reservoirs. While other diseases may be more notorious or cause global pandemics, rabies remains a silent but relentless killer, demanding continuous and coordinated efforts to be eradicated. Rabies, with its almost certain mortality rate once symptoms begin, has left a trail of tragedies throughout history. Although prevention and treatment are available, many communities around the world still suffer the devastating consequences of this virus. Next, I'll present real stories that illustrate the emotional and tragic impact of rabies on the lives of people and communities. The tragedy of Gina Giese. In 2004, Gina Giese, a 15-year-old girl from the state of Wisconsin, USA, became the first known person to survive rabies without receiving the post-exposure vaccine. Gina was bitten by a bat, but like many, She underestimated the severity of the incident and did not seek immediate medical attention. 3 weeks after the bite, she began to show the classic symptoms of rabies: fever, weakness, and tingling, followed by confusion and hallucinations. When doctors finally identified rabies, they knew the situation was desperate. However, her medical team attempted an experimental treatment, putting Gina into a medically induced coma to protect her brain while her immune system fought the virus. Against all odds, Gina survived, becoming a miraculous exception. Despite her recovery, she faced months of rehabilitation to regain motor and cognitive functions, and her story serves as a dramatic reminder of just how deadly this virus can be. The devastation in Bali, Indonesia. Between 2008 and 2011, the island of Bali, Indonesia, faced a devastating rabies outbreak that caused the deaths of hundreds of people. It all began when rabies-infected dogs were brought to the island, which had previously been considered rabies-free. In a short period, the virus spread rapidly, infecting the island's dogs and then the humans who came into contact with them. Local authorities initially underestimated the risk, leading to a delayed response. As a result, about 130 people died of rabies during this period. Local communities were devastated, with many families losing loved ones in a painful and tragic way. Fear gripped the island, as residents avoided leaving their homes, uncertain of when the next deadly attack might occur. The sad story of Precious Reynolds. Precious Reynolds, an 8-year-old girl from California, USA, in 2011, was bitten by a wild cat while playing in her grandmother's backyard. Since the bite seemed small and didn't cause much pain, Precious didn't tell anyone about the incident. It was only when she began to feel ill weeks later, with symptoms like fever, headache, and disorientation, that her family took her to the hospital. Doctors initially suspected meningitis, but as the symptoms rapidly progressed, including hydrophobia and paralysis, they diagnosed rabies. The family was devastated to learn that her chances of survival were nearly zero. Despite all the doctors' efforts, Precious did not survive, and her death deeply moved the local community. These tragic stories are a painful reminder that despite advances in medicine, rabies remains a deadly threat, especially in regions where access to prevention and treatment is limited. We cannot underestimate this invisible enemy. The only way to prevent more devastating losses is through constant vigilance and a global commitment to combating the virus. If you want to stay protected and informed, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this video with those you care about. Together, we can spread information, not the virus.